Councilor Hogan, Councilor Rudd. Looks like that's it. Councilor Carney. Commissioner Robinson, you want to start with the D.P.W item?
Yep. I guess the first, what is the first item we have is the donation of, can you hear me?
Yeah, the air purification one is the first one.
Yep. And I believe Corey's got information on that because I don't really have that much information.
Yeah, so this is a company that is looking to donate basically the air purification system. They're making a similar donation to their 3 devices. They're making a similar donation to the county. It's I have the specs for the device, but it's basically just a donation to the city. And we consulted with Building Trades, and they will be making the installation in the DPW main office. We also verified that the company Healthway Home Products doesn't have any other business or anything else in front of the city, so they've not a party to any contract or any bids or anything like that. They're just looking to donate it, and so we're just asking if we can accept the donation.
Is there like ongoing maintenance or something associated with it, or how does that work?
No, I don't believe so. I can verify that with Building Trades, but I think similar to, I think it's just a replacement of the air filtration system that exists at DPW right now. It's just an upgrade.
I mean, do we think the idea is that they think we'll like it and want more in other buildings? Is that kind of?
I mean, I'm sure there's some sort of benefit to them that perhaps will like the product and do that. But for City Hall and City Hall Commons, we already have great air filtration systems in place. But so. Regardless of what their motivations are, we're just happy to accept the donation and upgrade the air system at DPW. So,
okay.
But if there's any additional information, I can always just call on Building Trades too to get any more details that folks might want.
Any questions on this one? Okay. From people within the committee, Councilors Carney and Rudd, are you okay moving this one?
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Oh, Tim's there, but I think this is okay. So we'll move that one forward. Item 2. This is the acquisition of Taylor Street property.
Yeah, this is just a parcel, I believe that that we're going to take over. I think it's like 30 by 65 parcel on that 439 41 West Taylor Avenue. Russ, I know you're on. You could talk a little more about it if you want.
Sure. Yeah, it's part of the. Can everyone hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Just on the phone. Yeah, we acquired a parcel. I don't know, Amanda. Yeah, can you put up that map, Amanda, and share that map? We acquired a parcel next to, right next to the creek for the Creek Walk project from this ACN company. It left a small sliver of their property remaining. Again, as Commissioner said, about 30 by 65. We're actually required, the city's required to purchase that from the company because it's an uneconomic remainder. They have no use of that property and can't be used for commercial purposes. The cost is about $13.75. The good news is that the adjacent neighbor, a residential neighbor, would like to purchase that property from the city once the city has it. So they're keeping up their property well, and I would expect them to keep up this property as well if and when they acquire it.
Any questions on this? Okay. Councilor Carney or Rudd, if you're there. Good.
No further questions. I'm fine with it.
Thanks. Okay. Item 3.
So this is to amend a waiver, a request for service parts. I believe Lori's on to talk about that. I think purchasing, we need a little bit more money in the account. Lori, you on to talk about that?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, Monroe Tractor, we had a waiver of competitive bid, fiscal year 1920. And we had a not to exceed amount of 150,000. It, needs to be increased $3,000 because we received in June for work that was done in June, of another like $2,600 that we can't put on the 2021 APO because the work was done in the fiscal year 1920. So we just have to increase this APO to get the remaining invoices paid.
So the increase is 3,000.
Yes.
Any questions on this? Councilor Carney?
Nope.
All right, easy enough. All right, water department items. First one is the IMA with Onondaga County. Thank you, Commissioner Robinson and Lori.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Awald?
Can you hear me or no?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So item number 4 is an intermunicipal agreement with Onondaga County Soil and Water Conservation District, which we've been doing for years regarding, the watershed agricultural program. So it's just basically a renewal of that intermunicipal agreement. Any questions on that? Okay. Item number 5 is the Water Department leak detection contract, authorizing American Leak Detection for the second half of a renewal of their contract. Their contract has several one-year renewals. So we want to continue along with them for additional leak detection services. Any questions on that one?
Yeah, how well does it work? Do we like what they're doing?
They are doing really well. They got a couple guys, I want to say, seasoned veterans who are very good at what they do. I'd love to be able to hire them, but they are not local. Like they live in I think one lives out near Albany, one lives in Connecticut, but the Albany guys.
So just so I have an understanding, I mean, like how often are they able to successfully predict leaks? I mean, how often does this come up?
We use them if we have trouble finding them ourselves, or if we have them do a large section at night. So they do a bigger section than what we do as a spot checking. And they have I think last time we looked, it was a 90% accuracy rate. So they're finding a lot of leaks before they become breaks, which is good. It's picking up our workload, but I'd rather do a small leak than a big break. So it's very helpful.
Any questions on this end? Councilor Carney, you good with it?
Yeah, I guess the only question I have in reference to is, so the technology that they use, is that, is it just simply theirs and they have the rights to it? So if in the future we want to do something different, we would have to bring in someone completely how are they going about detect it? I'm a little bit confused on this.
So leak detection is done by what we call sounding the main. You put up 2 correlators on valves or multiple correlators on valves, and it listens to the water column within the water main. And if it hears a hissing, that puts out a different frequency, audio frequency, and that's how you kind of pinpoint the leak. It's pretty standard technology, and so it's not any kind of proprietary stuff or a technology we would have to go to a totally different new spectrum to do it. It's just that they provide that service at the best cost.
So to follow up on Councilor Carney's question, I mean, the reason we're not able to do it with our own staff is because we don't have the right technology for it, or because we don't have the right skill set with our staff?
We have it, but we only have so many people on our staff that can do it. These guys, they do it all hours of the night, and whenever we call them on an instant notice, they can be here within 12, 24 hours. A lot of the people that we have do it in-house are guys that are already working on the crews. So basically, this is to supplement and kind of enhance what we already do in-house. If that makes sense. So, okay, any other questions on item number 5? All right. Item number 6 is to extend the contract with GHD regarding the computerized maintenance and management system software. We haven't been able to launch this software yet due to COVID. With all the travel restrictions, our consultant hasn't been able to get up here and do the necessary work here and be here available for us to launch it and to work out any bugs as we launch it. So we're going to have to extend this contract, and we're anticipating 6 months, I think, at this point. But I guess depending on how the economy goes and the coronavirus and travel restrictions play out, will determine how we do this. But
Richard, do we have is there going to be an increase in cost with this extension, or is this just simply adding on more time for them to complete what we've already contracted with them to do? Is there going to be, are we going to have to pay more?
yes, there's a small increase. I think it's approximately $25,000 because of the extra project management and scheduling that's going to incur because of the additional 6 months. That's what we're anticipating as a maximum, but it may not reach that. So it's not to exceed that additional $25,000.
And I'm sorry, I'm trying to find it, but what was the additional expense for this? Like, what was the additional amount of money that we paid for this?
What was the original amount we contracted with? The original amount was $309,000. So we're adding about $25,000 additional just to cover project management expenses and administrative type of stuff at a maximum.
Any other questions on this item?
So, Councilor Green is Councilor Major. With that being said, Commissioner, you said we got to pay extra $25,000 for project management because of the COVID. Is that a split cost? Why is the whole cost coming on us than us sharing it with the contractor?
Well, they plan to do X amount of work and be here X amount of time, and then administratively, they plan for a year. Now it's going to go beyond that year, so that they're going to incur additional costs administratively for that contract. So it's a small increase.
Because of the COVID.
Right,
So,
because we haven't been able to hit the. Go on.
So, and then my question is, considering that this was an unplanned event, considering that it's not our fault. So why is the contract allowing us to pay for the extra time than us splitting it with them, considering that this is an unplanned event for everybody? That's what I'm trying to understand. That
Correct. So we picked we identified $25,000 not to exceed, just to make sure we cover our costs for what we're going to incur. I don't anticipate it being that much, and this may allow us to push a little farther ahead with some additional avenues of if we need to purchase some additional tablets for the staff to utilize the software too.
Okay, and then, so my concern, which is I'm okay with that, but my concern is if there is going to be a cost for an extra cost because of the unplanned event, I want us to make sure that if the cost is going to be $10,000, that their cost is split between them, that they take the half and we take the half. Is that the nature of the language in the contract, that we don't become the bearers of the extra cost? That's where I'm going with it.
No,
There-
understood. I don't think there's any language in the contract regarding any kind of splitting costs of pandemics or anything like that. So that's something we can certainly discuss with them. And I know they've been doing their best to be efficient with all of their tasks due to not being able to be here. So if we're able to squeeze some additional work out of them or process mapping of processes, we will do that to make sure we utilize the full extent and get the most bang for our buck.
All right, I would love to see that, and Councilor Green to see a feedback on that and how that ends.
So I guess picking up on Councilor Majub's question, Commissioner, is the reason that it's taking longer because our staff isn't available to receive the training, or because they're not available to provide the training?
There's two reasons. They're not available to travel because of all the travel restrictions. And we've delayed it, 3 or 4 times now. Things were going to be scheduled, and then all of a sudden travel restrictions hit. We had a delay in purchasing of tablets, which delayed some of the progression of the project. And then there was a little bit of a delay signing the contract with a software vendor to actually get the stuff up and rolling and implemented back last fall. So there's been a few delays, some of them out of our hands, obviously, with the coronavirus. And there was a huge delay with getting tablets from our vendor because we purchased them 2 weeks before the coronavirus hit. And then all the tablets, were sold out for weeks and weeks and weeks at a time, where we eventually canceled that order and then purchased them directly from Verizon when they had a shipment available, which was even 2 weeks later than what we ordered. So we had a lot of complications due to the coronavirus, just trying to get things moving.
Yeah, and so I understand that, but I do think, to Councilor Majub's point, I mean, especially the one where their inability to travel really is on them, right? I mean, no one forced them to use someone from out of town to do the training. It's something that, so I think there is some validity to the councilor's point there.
Agreed. I agree. But again, this is not to exceed amount, not that they're going to use the full 25,000, but just to make sure we're covered so we don't have to come back in 3 months. But, we'll keep a watchful eye on the contract and make sure there's no overage.
Any other questions on this item? Okay, item 7.
7 is a waiver request for backhoe repair services. A lot of our equipment is from Milton Cat, and keep them under warranty and all that stuff, we utilize Milton Cat for parts and services, which we've done in the past as well.
Any questions on this one? Okay, item 8.
Number 8, we are gonna hold. I guess budget has some questions on this one, so we're gonna just postpone this one until next meeting.
Okay, so 8's going to be held. Okay. Any other questions on these items from any of the councilors? So then, are we comfortable moving items 4 through 7? Councilors Carney and Major?
No, sorry.
I'm okay, Councilor Green.
Okay.
Councilor Green, can I just make a quick comment? And maybe with the water department items, obviously they're all out of the water reserve fund, correct? We know that, right? And I would just like with Ms. Driscoll or Corey rather on the line here. We're with the article that was in the paper today regarding the anticipated shortfall. We've already factored in any kind of money that we can use out of the water reserve fund for city services, correct? I mean, I imagine it into the future.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and Joe, maybe you can speak to this too, because I'm sure you've been involved in the conversations with the finance team planning. But I know, obviously things like the water fund and the sewer fund are treated a little bit differently than all the other departments. But I mean, our finance team has been in regular contact to try and see, to squeeze as much money as we can out of things and to see, where we're able to cut to make the shortfall. Joe, I don't know if you have any additional information.
No real additional information other than, that the typical $2.3 million transfer for services was anticipated in our budget. As far as I know, that still stands. So,
Well, if we maybe could coordinate that maybe with the financial contingency committee and certainly our finance chair, Corey, maybe. I just think it'd be a good idea to maybe look into the future and see what monies can be used from the water reserve fund for other essential city services. Not to grab money out of your budget, Joe, but we're in a crisis here. That's all I have. Thanks, Councilor Green.
Counselor, can I ask the question? I was a little late coming on, and maybe it was already answered. So the what was it, 10,000 that we have to use for the Skinny Atlas? Was that answered?
No, we haven't touched on that yet.
Oh, okay. Then I'll sit back and be quiet. Okay.
No, but I mean, if you want to, because it's not a piece of legislation that's before the council, but if you want to talk about it, Joe and I
Because I hear Councilor Hogan asking about the different funding sources and what's left in water. So who's gonna get K coming from?
You cut out a little bit, President Hudson. You're asking where is the $10,000 coming from?
Yes.
I mean, so that's our infrastructure that ruptured there. So that's going to be a repair paid for by the water department. Joe, correct me if I'm wrong there, but that's our conduit. I mean, it goes through Camillus, but it's our infrastructure. So we're going to be the ones to pay for those repairs.
correct. Anything that runs from Skinny Atlas to the city that supplies us with water, any damage we create due to a blowout is our responsibility and comes from the water department fund.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Okay. All right, so Jim, we're going to move items 1 through 7.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Bye.